guests here today, the second grade Brownie Troop 90022 from Northrop Elementary School. Elizabeth Craig is the leader. If you would like to please approach the microphone and you can lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That was wonderful.
Much better than the boys.
I know you would say that.
Good job, girls.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Coin.
Here.
Hilberg.
Here.
Colasar.
Here.
Lamb.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes of the May 12, 2014 regular meeting as prepared and submitted by the clerk be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met prior to council. We'll meet I think, June 9th prior to council. We have several items on the agenda. Health, Safety, is that right? Health, Safety, and Sanitation Committee, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report. We are looking to schedule a committee meeting of the Health, Safety, and Sanitation Board on sometime the first week or second week of June. As soon as I get everybody's logistics, we'll publish that.
Thank you. Public Properties Committee, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Properties met last week. We have one item, or last week's meeting was specifically about the city pool, and we have one item on tonight's agenda about the pool.
Thank you. Special Legislation Committee, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. We've held no meetings, but I'm going to schedule a meeting late in June to discuss legislation for point-of-sale inspections and also to finish up the discussion on public art.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks Committee, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Streets and Sidewalks Committee has not met, but plans to hold a meeting sometime in June. A date will be announced.
Thank you. Water and Utilities Committee, Mr. Colzar.
Thank you, Mr. President. We did have a Water and Utilities meeting on May 22nd. At that meeting, we actually discussed a recommendation that came out of Utility Rate Review, who met on the 15th of this month, in reference to water rate increases. And we have a request for council action that was voted on tonight at Finance. We'll be on the council floor at our next council meeting that everybody should expect a 5% water rate increase. And there will be plenty more discussion with this, but just so you're aware, it won't go in effect until August. The city's in a tough situation with Avon Lake and their increases that they pass along to us. That's where we get our water from. And also our Spieth Road tanks, our large store tanks just outside the city, have to be recoded, and the guesstimate on that is between $400,000 and $500,000, and of the city's commitment towards that. And if people keep track of our water accounts, we try to run them as thin as possible, and with the increase from Avon Lake in this pending project, it was something that we had to move fairly quickly on. We usually give plenty of time for notification, so not only the residents but the business community can plan for. We're in a tough spot with this one, but just to give people a heads up, there'll be more information coming out from the city website and or from the city itself, and hopefully from the media about this 5% increase. But that's what's happening in water and utilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Request for council action. We have several for the Finance Committee. We have 14-110 budget amendments, 14-111 payment over $3,000 to Medina Hospital, 14-112 purchase of 3 2014 Ford Police Interceptors for the Police Department, 14-113 contract for priority dispatch for police, 14-114 contract for Pro QA priority dispatch interface for the police. 14115 2013 financial audit contract modification for Ray and Associates. 14116 RFPs for case management software for municipal court. 14117 economic development TREX transfer form. 14118 collective bargaining agreement for the police and sergeants. 14119 pay scale and healthcare adjustment for non-union. 14120 declaration of necessity for tax levy renewal. 14121 qualification statements for professional design services for the municipal courthouse. Special legislation has one item. 14122 adopt point of sale inspection legislation, and Health, Safety, and Sanitation Committee has two items. 14109 utility rate review commission recommendation for sanitation rates, and 14123 police department reorganization. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hanwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. The new city website is up and running. We're making adjustments and adding information as requests come in. If there's anything that the council or the public would like to see added, I will mention that with Memorial Day yesterday, the trash will be delayed one day this week, and that is on the city website. So it'll be Tuesday through Saturday instead of Monday through Friday. Speaking of Memorial Day, the parade and service at the cemetery went very well and were both very well attended yesterday. The square and cemetery themselves looked excellent, and I'd like to compliment Jansen and the park staff for their work in the preparation for those events. The flower pots were delivered last week and put into place around the downtown and the surrounding historic area. And these continue to be a source of positive comments from both those in the community and visitors. The Friday night band concerts are going to start up a week from this Friday, which will be the first Friday night in June. And then every Friday night in June and July, they start at 8:30 p.m. There's been some posting of parking behind the Second Soul, Eli's, Marie's Cafe, Lager and Vine, and Four Ladies and More. That's a private lot that generally the public had been using for parking that's now been established as a private parking tow-away zone. And it's also prohibited between Lager and Vine and Four Ladies and More. So just want to try to get the word out. We're also having the Medina Community Band put on their website and their advertisements to avoid anybody's car, hopefully, from being towed. There's plenty of street parking that's available, the county administration lot, the county court lots, and parking deck, as well as any of the city lots, the city hall lot, and the Medina Municipal Court lot are all available for weekend and evening events. And then the Medina County Veterans Hall up on North Broadway is having a capital campaign to do remodeling and renovations. The building is somewhat old and has not had much of a maintenance over the years. So they're having, in a number of eateries, some dining with for veterans events where a portion of the proceeds go to help pay for the renovations of the Veterans Hall. And the next events between now and our council meeting are June 3rd at Eaton Park from noon to 8. And it's for both dining in or carry out, and 10% of all the sales will go to the capital campaign. And then July 3rd, Buffalo Wild Wings from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Same thing, dine in or carry out, and 20% of the proceeds on that day will go to the Veterans Hall. There'll also be a list of these upcoming events and then the ones after that posted in our kiosk here at City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first four items on the agenda originated in finance. I'll address those when we get there. Otherwise, we've been providing information for utility rate review in the various committees on the utility rates and working with departments on the budgets, which are forthcoming for our next group of budget hearings.
Thank you, Mr. Huber, City Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you, Lieutenant Brooke Beckler, Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Rice, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. We did hold our second open house meeting this evening from 5 to 7. It was pretty well attended for the Downtown Strategic Plan, and we will be submitting the draft for your review at the next meeting. That's my report.
Thank you. Mr. Mendel, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Chief Painter, Fire Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report either.
Thank you. Mr. Wright, Recreation Center Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a report tonight.
All right.
The Medina Rec wants to remind parents that summer vacation is almost here. The Rec offers a fantastic summer camp program for kids ages 5 through 12 with countless activities for all age groups, including field trips, and that change each week, and 11 weeks in all. The first week you can sign up for starts June 2nd through June 6th, and the program ends the week of August 11th through the 15th. You can sign the kids up for 1 week or multiple weeks. We also offer multi-child discounts. Our hours for summer camp are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and we also offer early morning drop-off and after 5 pickup. For more information, you can go to our website at medinarec.org, call the Rec Center at 330-721-6900, or pick up a brochure and turn to page 3. You can also call Maureen Dahl, our program specialist, at 330-721-6935. Lastly, our next Rec Advisory Board meeting will be Thursday, June 19th at 7:30 at the Rec Center. Thank you. At 7:30 a.m.
Thank you. Mr. Worley, Parks and Recreation Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the Parks Department employees who worked tirelessly over the last couple weeks to get the cemetery and the square ready for Memorial Day. Our mountain bike trails at Huffman Cunningham Park are currently closed as the bridges were washed out from the floods a week or so ago. They should be open by the first week of June, the second week at the latest. Fred Greenwood splash pad is open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and the splash pad at Ray Mellert Park will be open Thursday, May 29th, 12 to 8 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you. I thought I'd give a little bit of review of the flooding and rain event we had on May 12th. As everybody knows, it was a tremendous amount of rain. In the engineering department and service department, we had over 80 homes reported basement flooding as a result of that rain. I believe there's actual numbers probably a bit higher than that. We think there's some folks that didn't report it for whatever reason. We'd like to encourage them to report it because the more information we have, the better. But we did get over 80 calls over the past couple weeks. Both the engineering and street departments have responded to each of those. We've been to each of those streets and kind of assessing our system to make sure there's nothing we can do in the immediate short term to resolve a problem. We want folks to know that we will, over the next several months, be working with the county and assessing all these areas. Part of the disheartening thing is there's some blocks, some streets that got hit very hard that we've never heard from before. We seemingly had no issues there. Many people have asked how that rain event was classified. I've seen a lot of different estimates, and it's hard to get a true picture. You know, the amount of rain can vary significantly from even neighborhood to neighborhood, different parts of the city. But one that I saw was pretty interesting was from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They do their assessment based on analysis of their radar. And according to their radar, portions of central and northern Medina County received 3.28 inches of rain in 80 minutes that evening. I hope people can appreciate that amount of rain. Our system, and really there's no infrastructure that's built to handle something like that. But anyone that does have a problem that hasn't reported it, please give us a call and we will respond. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Piccoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Patrick was giving his report, I could hear thunder outside and started to get a little nervous. But as he said, we responded to many flooded complaints regarding property from the May 12th storm. Feel bad for the people that endured that and trying to do the best we can to help them out. With that, we also resurfaced the areas of North Court Street that, if you remember, we milled out in late winter due to so many potholes concentrated in one area. So that was a good improvement. We were able to get that done. The other thing that we're doing in service currently is repairing the tree lawns where the snowplow may have scraped tree lawns in the cul-de-sacs, as well as the restoration of the tree lawns from water breaks throughout the winter as well. So I appreciate the patience of the public as we go forward.
Thank you. Notice of communications and petitions. There are none. Unfinished business. None. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public were permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments should be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there is a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the front right microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council at this time? Introduction and considerations of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 83-14, an ordinance establishing an unclaimed monies fund.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. We need to have this fund to account for monies that are unclaimed. Most of this comes from the court. We're required to maintain for 5 years, and then they revert to the general fund.
Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 83-14 passes 7-0.
Resolution 84-14, a resolution of the Council of the City of Medina, Medina County, State of Ohio, certifying that when a municipal obligation was incurred, sums were lawfully appropriated in funds to satisfy the obligation, and sufficient sums currently exist to satisfy this obligation according to the attached sheets.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Any discussion on the emergency clause and/or the resolution?
Mr. President, I'm going to have to abstain because my employer is customer of my employer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Colzar. Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. This was to repair a water line during the ODOT project on State Route 3. It had to be done. That's why there wasn't a purchase order in advance, because it had to be done to get the water to the line. And the emergency clause is because the work's already been done. We want to pay the vendor.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause or the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Abstain.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Resolution 84-14 passes 6 yeas, 1 abstention.
Now, will the clerk please call the roll on the resolution?
Sorry. Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Abstain.
Resolution 84-14 passes 6 yeas, 1 abstention.
Resolution 85-14, a resolution of the Council of the City of Medina, Medina County, and the State of Ohio, certifying that when a municipal obligation was incurred, sums were lawfully appropriated into funds to satisfy the obligation, and sufficient sums currently exist to satisfy the obligation according to the attached sheets.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
this also is requesting the attachment of the emergency clause. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause or the resolution. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This was for roof repair. The roof was leaking. It had to be fixed. The work's already been done. That's why this is here. And the emergency clause is because we want to pay the vendor for the work that was done.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause and/or the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the resolution?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Resolution 85-14 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 86-14, an ordinance amending ordinance number 208-13, passed December 9th, 2013, amendments to the 2014 budget.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Durham?
Thank you, Mr. President. The first 3 additions are for the Lake Road Phase 2 project. The fourth is a replacement to some of the reductions that I'll get to below. The final addition, as we discussed at the Finance Committee earlier this evening, is to appropriate money from the trust funds that we have for police equipment. That money can only be used for that purpose. They approved the purchase at Finance, and this is the appropriation for it. The reductions are to reduce the unspent appropriations from last year that were reappropriated this year in the water and sanitation utility billing accounts.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 86-14 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 87-14, ordinance authorizing the mayor to solicit requests for qualifications, RFQs, from qualified professionals for design build services for the Champion Creek Stream Bank and riparian restoration.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause and or the ordinance.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is to get moving along on the design and build for the restoration of the Champion Creek, which runs through the southern portion of the downtown, approximately 2,000 feet, starting at Elmwood Avenue, running east toward what was formerly Bennett Lumber. This is to get the design work done and hopefully in a company that can do the design and build and get this process moving along, and request the emergency clause to continue moving this along in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause and or the ordinance?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Lamb.
You know, I lived here for about 40 years, and it's interesting. Champion Creek, I always thought was named Champion Creek like the word champion because it was a great creek. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago when I was talking to probably Roger Smalley, I found out Champion Creek was named after a fellow named Champion who never came to Medina, but he owned a lot of property. He was kind of an early speculator, and that's where the creek got its name. And this project is just a terrific project that will take what is really a wonderful asset to the city of Medina to have this creek going right through the downtown. And it will beautify it, clean up the banks, and make it even more of a wonderful asset for the community. So this is a terrific project, and appreciate the work you've done on it, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing it through completion.
Thank you. Any other further comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 87-14 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 88-14, ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for competitive bids and to award a contract to the successful bidder for the Lake Road Reconstruction Phase 2 project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Patton.
Thank you, Mr. President. As mentioned in the title, this is for the reconstruction of Lake Road. Phase 2 is between Lafayette and West Smith Road. This will be the fourth of our 5 projects in the industrial area that we identified a couple years ago and sold bonds for. This project will not only replace all the pavement, also replace water lines and storm sewers.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 88-14 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 89-14, ordinance amending Section 3107 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, by accepting the job description for the position of intern for the Economic Development and Planning Departments.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Rice?
Thank you, Mr. President. This request is to amend our job description for our intern in the Community Development Department to reflect current projects and current duties. And the Civil Service Commission did review it, and we're asking council to approve it.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Lamb.
No.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Ordinance 89-14 passes 6 yeas, 1 nay.
Ordinance 90-14, ordinance authorizing the mayor to commence qualification-based selection process for professional design services for the improvements to the Memorial Park pool and facilities.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Worley?
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance authorizes the mayor to obtain qualification statements. It gives us the ability to review and rank the statements and determine the most qualified firm for the project. They will provide design services for the improvements at Memorial Park pool and facilities. After several discussions at Public Properties, This is our next step moving forward with the project. We've talked to a consultant, reviewed his report, and decided to move forward with a design and plan for renovation of the pool. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 90-14 passes 7-0.
Resolution 91-14, a resolution also authorizing the filing of an application for grant assistance from the Ohio Department Services Agency, Office of Housing and Community Development in connection with Small Cities Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Mr. Mendel?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is the Small Cities Grant, and this includes several different grant applications. There's the allocation grant, which in the ordinance outlines the different types of projects that would be part of that and the costs associated. Additionally, this will permit the application of the downtown revitalization grant, which is listed in the ordinance as well, and the dollar amounts associated with it, as well as a critical infrastructure grant. So this is something that there's been a great asset to the downtown. A couple of these different grants have been good for the city in past, and the emergency clause is there so that application can be made for this on June 6th.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause and/or the resolution? Clerk, please call the roll on the emergency clause.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Resolution 91-14 passes 7-0.
Resolution 92-14, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a partnership agreement with the City of Brunswick and the City of Wadsworth and to file an application for grant assistance with the Ohio Development Services Agency for Partnership Year 2014 Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program Grant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Any discussion on the emergency clause and/or the resolution? Who's doing? Mr. Mendel? Is that you?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is a continuation from the discussion that happened earlier this evening at Finance Committee, and this is the application for CHIP program, which is the acronym for the Community Housing Impact and Preservation Grant Program. This is a little different than we've done in past years. We usually just do it ourselves. This year, in order to get more dollars for our city in particular, and also we're going to be partnering with the City of Brunswick and the City of Wadsworth, and that will permit $50,000 more if we're given the grant, $50,000 more per entity. Which would equal up to $400,000 per community, which would be a total of $1.2 million. So the action in front of you tonight would be allowing for the application for the CHIP program, approving the cooperation agreement between the three cities, and entering into a contract with CT Consultants to be the project managers of individual projects under the CHIP. Whereas the city will be of the partnership of the city partnerships, the city of Medina will be the program manager and manage the program overall. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Clerk, please call the roll on the emergency clause.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call the roll on the resolution.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Resolution 92-14 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 93-14, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3914 passed March 10th, 2014, pertaining to the lease of land at the Medina Municipal Airport.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Huber?
Thank you, Mr. President. The City of Medina leases the running of the airport to Flight Services of Medina, which is a business run and managed by Earl Olson. Mr. Olson, in turn, built some hangars and is subleasing these hangars to 10 individuals who will rent space there for a 22-year length of time. This ordinance allows for the city of Medina to be a party to the sublease so as to guarantee the 22-year term of time, essentially.
Thank you. Any further comments or discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 93-14 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 94-14, an ordinance ratifying the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Medina and Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association for the police sergeants and authorizing the mayor to execute said agreement.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
Second, adding the emergency clause.
Mayor Hamel.
Thank you, Mr. President. As council's aware, we've been in negotiations with the patrolmen and sergeants groups for the police department for probably the better part of 7 months. We started last October. And we were prepared to go to arbitration. And to avoid that, a tentative agreement was reached that is acceptable to both unions, the officers and the sergeants, and was presented to finance immediately before this meeting. And what it does in essence is follows the fact finder's recommendation, which is an increase in health care, increase in premium contributions, prescriptions, office co-pays, 2% wage increases for each year, 2014, 15, and 16. And the only issue that the city did not maintain was the ability that the fact finder gave us for any new hires to put on 5 8-hour shifts instead of 4 10-hour shifts, as is currently in place and has been for a period of time at the police department. So as we evaluated the savings in the health care provisions, it made sense for us to accept this in that it was starting sooner and would result in more savings for the city, and would ask for council's adoption of it. The emergency clause is because under the Federal Health Care Act, we want to implement the health care changes August 1st, and we're required by federal law to give a 60-day notice, and we can't do that if we don't pass this without the emergency clause. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion or comment?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Simpson.
I have to abstain from this vote.
Thank you. Anybody else? Clerk, please call the roll on the emergency clause.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Motion passes 6 yeas, 1 abstention.
Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Abstain.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Ordinance 94-14 passes 6 yeas, 1 abstention.
Ordinance 95-14, ordinance ratifying the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Medina and the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association for the patrol officers and authorizing the mayor to execute said agreement.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
once again, the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Mayor Hamel?
The sergeant's agreement is, in essence, the same. The sergeants have a rank differential, so whatever raise the officers get, the sergeants automatically get that. I did forget one provision. The sick time buyout, they get 37.5% of any unused sick time. They asked to increase that from maximum 360 hours to 400 hours, which was in the fact finder's recommendation. And also just to mention for the public, if we had gone to arbitration, the city was looking at nearly $5,000 in both arbitration fees as well as attorney's fees. So we saved those amount of dollars by being able to resolve this.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Clerk, please call the roll on the emergency clause.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 95-14 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 96-14, an ordinance amending Section 3103 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to the salary schedules for employees not covered under the current union contracts for the years 2014, 15, and 16.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause.
Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance and the next ordinance are to effectively equalize, do the same thing with the non-union employees that was done in the last two we just covered.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comment? Clerk, please call the roll on the emergency clause.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 96-14 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 97-14, an ordinance amending Section 3114D and 3116A of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to employee health care.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I know Mr. Wetzel, former Councilman Wetzel's never speaking to me again, but I'm going to ask for the emergency clause for the 9th time this evening.
My second includes the emergency clause, and this is 9 out of 14
It's a
issues
record.
that have the emergency clause. And I do apologize to Mr. Wetzel also.
Any discussion on the ordinance? I think Mr. Durham explained that this is the follow-up between the previous two ordinances or three ordinances related to the equalization of the non-union employees with the unionized employees. Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Clerk, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 97-14 passes 7-0.
Council comments. Mr. Lamb?
Mr. President, I have a few things to announce. One is the Community Design Committee's annual garden party is coming up on June 13th. It's at a wonderful house in town in a spectacular garden, and it is from 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock, June 13th. Tickets are available at Cool Beans, Miss Molly's, and the Visitors Bureau. Secondly, South Court Street Historic Neighborhood Association has a new event. It's called Rocking the Court. It's a takeoff on a Akron Highland Square event called Porch Rockers. And 20 Yards have volunteered to have a music group in their front yard on Saturday, June 28th from 12 to 4. So you can walk down South Court Street and hear a variety of music and musicians, and I believe there are a few other things that'll be included. There'll be food, places to buy food, as well as a balloon. Not sure what you call them, but the people that form balloons up into animals and stick them on top of kids' heads. There will be, I don't know, balloon artist, I'm not sure. Balloon artists will be there also. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah, you girls might know what that is. It should be a lot of fun. I think it's there'll be a band concert on Friday, and there'll be the farm market on Saturday, and then South Court Street has this for 4 or 5 hours, and then the following day is Main Street Medina has their annual antique sale on the square. So it kind of makes a package for that weekend of from June 27th, June 28th, June 29th. Should be a lot of fun. I'm sure it'll be in the paper. So if you want to stroll down South Court Street, you'll be able to see that. And lastly, Peaceworks, who is taking over the Yellow House at the Trailhead at South Broadway. I met with them and took a look. They have great plans for what they're going to do with that house. They've got a lot of folks donating to make that a reality. And the Community Design Committee as well donated $1,000 to that group to help with their work on the building. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.
Oh.